So with the stakes being so high, why is the team the way it is? Hey guys, MasakoX here. Now that the universe survival arc is mere weeks away, and we actually have a good idea about what the team for Universe 7 is going to be, it's pretty much these chums right here, the debates have begun. I firmly believe that this team, at least character-wise, is a very solid selection. It contains characters that we all know, are very competent fighters, and they each have their own selective fan bases. Goku, Vegeta, Majin Buu, Gohan, Piccolo, 17 and 18, Krillin, Tenshin Han, and Master Roshi. Sounds like a very good team, albeit the fact that nobody else in Universe 7 was consulted about this team. Did they miss that meeting, or was there even a meeting in the first place? I'm guessing that Beerus was supposed to have picked a team, but he couldn't be bothered, so he just said, Goku, just pick your race, whatever. Oh, that incompetent scamp. My first reaction was very positive. I was very impressed at the selection, in particular the reintroduction of number 17. Ever since we got that shot of him as a park ranger towards the end of the Buu saga, we've been keen to know what he's been up to ever since he was brought back to life after the Cell games. It's been one of those underlying questions in the franchise. Sure enough, he is a park ranger. But has his mood mellowed over the years? He used to be a very immature prankster when we first saw him in the Android saga, but has he really developed? Has he moved on? Is he more normal? Well, if the character development of his sister 18 is anything to go by, then my prospects for his attitude shift are very high. Gohan's place in the team shocked everyone given how inconsistent Toei has been about what his character is, but I will give them credit. They are starting to get a better handle about what Gohan as a character truly is and what his motives are. Up until now, Gohan's style of writing has been very inelegant. It keeps changing between family and fighting, and it doesn't really feel like a natural conflict of interests. It's just like he's just there going that way, and then suddenly it's that way, that way, that way, that way, that way. It's completely artificial. Let's hope that that flip-flop attitude is addressed in this next arc. Tenshin Han, Krillin, and Roshi. Solid picks. Also, from a marketing perspective, it's a very clever choice too. These guys were in the Resurrection F fight, and that fight was really well received, albeit from the janky CGI in places. They fought well, they were part of an iconic scene, so why not have them in there again? They are staples of the original Dragon Ball series, so they have that connection to the show's history, so it makes perfect sense to have them in there. With those final three, this makes this lineup very ideal. However, is it the absolute pinnacle that Universe 7 can muster? I think that Toei could have been a little bit bolder with this team. Expert Games did a similar video about this topic, and it inspired me to actually think about it. Up until recently, I just took this team as it were, and I just thought, pretty cool. And I still do. However, I started just thinking in my head just for fun about what kind of other combinations you could have had. Were there other choices in mind in the Toei writing office? Perhaps. So let's have a little bit of fun and pick some outlandish choices, just for giggles. Be sure to check out Expert Games' video on the matter though, I will include a link in the top right. So let's start thinking outside the box about characters that are eligible for selections. Do the combatants have to be good guys? Why not consider former villains, perhaps? Oh, actually, now that I think about it, most of the roster is made out of Goku's former villains. There's Vegeta, there's Piccolo, there's Tenshin Han, there's the androids. In fact, this lineup is literally the back catalogue of the Z Warriors' past fights. How about we take it up a notch? Why not think about Perfect Cell? What, Masako? Are you kidding me? But he's dead! Also, he's a really bad guy! Why would you trust him with the fate of the universe? Well, that's exactly it. Perfect Cell is an amalgamation of all of our heroes' personalities, including Frieza. He is pretty much a mishmash of everybody. As a result, it made Cell into an eloquent villain with fundamental principles and a sense of honor from his Saiyan side, albeit still with the desire to blow up the planet and take over the galaxy. Yeah, I think he got that from Frieza as well as his flamboyance. So why the hell would you allow him to participate then, Masako? Wait. My thinking is this. It's all about a tournament, a multiversal tournament. And we have to remember that Cell was the guy that came up with the Cell games. He has an understanding about how all these things work. Also, his mind is made out of everybody of the Z Warriors and Frieza, remember? He gets what they're thinking. He can relate to them. He stuck to the rules of the Cell games for most of them, so, you know, he does respect rules, kind of. Not to mention his power has been clearly surpassed by most of the people in this team, so they would keep him in check, especially Gohan, who was the guy that did the deed and killed him with the father-son Kamehameha. And I think he'd respect the rules of the tournament enough to actually understand that the universe will be destroyed, and pretty much most of creation. Only one universe would survive, and it would better be Universe 7, so I think Perfect Cell will give it his all for this particular situation. Especially if the fate of existence is involved. He has just enough honor that I think he could legitimately participate. But yeah, that's a little bit of a stretch. What about Pikkon? You know, that guy who easily wailed on Cell at a time where it took a father-son Kamehameha at full pelt at Super Saiyan 2 level to actually conquer the green baddie? That takes a lot of power. Why not get him involved? Well, like Cell, he's dead, as far as we know. Would Toei really want to pull from a TV anime only character where they could just have plenty of characters that were in the manga and have a fan understanding? It's a lot easier just to pick from that instead of just relying on a filler character. So he's really no better than the movie villains, really, in terms of legitimacy. That's where you're wrong. He has appeared in a movie, but he's also appeared in the TV anime, so he has some presence in the broadcast version of Dragon Ball Z. That is a big plus. And not only that, he has a sizable fan base. There are so many people that have longed for Pikkon to return, and honestly, I really liked the character when I first saw him. He was so cool. And he's appeared in Dragon Ball Hero, so he's not been forgotten by the higher-ups of Dragon Ball. To see Pikkon back would be a great addition, and I think he would really relish the challenge, especially getting to team up with Goku again. Hey, while we're thinking about Otherworld Tournament participants, why not we throw Olibu in there? You know, that Greek-like god figure who's 8-9 feet tall and has been in the Otherworld for 10,000 years, practicing and training. Surely throughout all that time he's built enough power to be somewhat competent in a multiversal tournament. Then we have Kapuchai, Gorilla and Torby. More Otherworld Tournament combatants. They were knocked out easily by Olibu and Pikkon, but they still are pretty strong. At least stronger than Krillin. Okay, let's say that we actually went along with this. How would you bring them back from the dead? Well, you could ask the Namekians to use the Dragon Balls to bring them back to life, or you could go through King Yemma. Remember when Vegeta was brought back to fight Super Buu in the Buu Saga? He was dead, but King Yemma gave him special dispensation, albeit reluctantly, to go back and help Goku. Why not do the same for these characters? Especially since existence is at risk, and universes could die as a result. I think King Yemma could look past his sensibilities and allow the likes of Pikkon and Olibu and Torby and Kapuchai and Gorilla or etc. to actually take part in a single tournament, at least just for a day or two. Be that as it may, it seems very unlikely that they would have really figured in a final lineup because there's one key problem. They don't really have that much fan recognition in comparison to these characters. It would take a lot of effort to reintroduce these characters, and they were just in for a couple of episodes. You'd have to really hammer it home about their backstory, and that would take a few episodes, whereas with these guys, it's pretty much instantaneous. It ultimately makes it easier for the writers, and considering their track record, it's best to try and make tasks as easy as possible for Toei's writing staff. So it seems that Universe 7's team is mostly comprised of Goku's mates and his former adversaries who just so happen to live on Earth. That is very convenient. One planet's fighters responsible for the entirety of Universe 7's fate? Wow, that's a lot of pressure. All because Goku reminded Zeno about the multiversal tournament they talked about a couple of arcs back, at least according to Animedia's preview of the upcoming arc, which has been so lovingly translated by Herms. Thank you. I'm beginning to see a pattern here in that Goku likes to actually instigate hardship inadvertently. Now this leads me to what I imagine a lot of you are thinking of right now. Why aren't Goten and Trunks in this list? They are very strong, they are certainly stronger than Krillin, Tenshinhan and Roshi, they could easily be competitive, you could even throw them in as Gotenks if you wanted, but I really feel that there's going to be a question of age here, and that leads me to a big problem with having Goten and Trunks in this lineup. There's a lot of responsibility here. I don't think that they'd be ready to accept the responsibility of the entire universe's safety on their shoulders. Think about it, to put that kind of burden on children's shoulders, that's kinda harsh. But this is no Poxy Tenkaichi Budokai, which has basically just become a cash cow for our Z Warriors. This is the universe fighting for its survival. This is the destiny of trillions of lives. I don't think Goten and Trunks would be up for that. In summation, this is the team that I would pick for the upcoming arc if my #1 focus was purely strength. Goku, Vegeta, Majin Buu, Gohan, Piccolo, 17, 18, Perfect Cell, Pikkon, and Olibu. If fusion was allowed, I would replace Olibu with Gotenks, but I feel like Metamorph Fusion and the 30-minute time limit, or less if they use any other transformations, would be very, very finicky in terms of the rules. Now I imagine you're thinking, why did you keep Krillin in there despite you talking smack about him? I feel like that there'd be a really good relationship dynamic with him and 18 in there, fighting together. That would be really awesome to see. And why isn't 17 in there? Well, I would still want him to be in the story, but there is not quite enough room in terms of actually having Krillin in there. If I didn't have Krillin in there, then it would be 17. Also, Krillin is the strongest human, so I feel like he does deserve a symbolic place on that team. Now, this is not me saying that this has to be the lineup and any other lineup is stupid. I actually really like the lineup that we're getting. This is just purely for fun and speculation. There are many other combinations that you can have, this is just one. I'm actually surprised that Goku didn't pick Monaka for this lineup, because he still believes that Monica is the strongest person in Universe 7. Personally, I think Toei's given up that subplot. I think that pretty much went as far as it could go. So what do you guys think? Do you have your own lineup? Leave a comment below, let's get this discussion going, and click up the top right for the poll to decide whose is better, my lineup or Super's lineup. I'd very much like to know. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Until the next one, be sure to like and subscribe. And until then, catch you later.